Welcome to Sandwiches of History. Today is not an International Sandwich Sunday because it's the Super Bowl Sunday here in America, where two American football teams go head-to-head to see who's the best in the land. Playing today is, of course, Philadelphia and Kansas City. So I thought, hey, why don't we have our own competition of sandwiches? Now, with Philadelphia, we all know the Philly Cheesesteak. Everyone knows that around the world. Kansas City, there's not one sandwich that's particularly tied. There's the burnt end sandwich, there's barbecue, pulled pork sandwich. But I went a step further. I found out that Patrick Mahomes, who's the quarterback for the Kansas City team, has a favorite sandwich called the ZMan. And so today we're going to do the Philly Cheesesteak versus the ZMan, see who comes out on top. Okay, first things first, I'm going to cut off this little hunk of fat here, because we're going to use that. Then I'm going to put the steak in the freezer for about 15 minutes to firm up. Okay, the first thing we got to do is toast our bread in some butter on the griddle. Throw on some more butter and our piece of beef fat. Then our onions. Now we have to cut the ribeye steak cross grain thinly. And it's easier to cut now that it's been firmed up in the freezer. Now we grease it back up again with that fat that we cut off earlier. And on goes the steak. Got to get it in a single layer so it gets maximum surface. So I've added back in the onions and stirred them together, and I'm going to try 3 different cheeses here. Usually a lot of people say you get Whiz, which is Cheese Whiz out of a jar, and you add that on the sandwich. But here I'm going to put on a slice of white American cheese and a slice of provolone. Let that get melty. Salted and peppered the onions and the beef before putting on the cheese. And last but not least, put on a little Cheese Whiz. Whiz, if you will. Okay, for Mahomes' favorite sandwich, the Z-Man, it calls for smoked brisket, which normally I would smoke the brisket, but I just did not have time this week, so I went to a barbecue joint near me that does Kansas City barbecue and got some brisket. But I do have to make one thing before I can assemble the sandwich. To flour, I whisk in beer, salt, cayenne pepper, garlic powder, sugar, and black pepper. Next, we cut a sweet onion into onion rings. We take our onion rings and put them into flour, coat them. Okay, now we take an onion ring, dip it into the batter, and then into our hot oil. And repeat. And of course hit them with a little salt after they come out. Okay, to make the Z-Man, we put sliced brisket on a bun, top that with some provolone cheese, and then broil it until melty. Now we put on some Kansas City barbecue sauce that I also got at the smokehouse, and some onion rings. And voila. Okay, first up, let's give the Philly cheesesteak with provolone a go. Love the buttery provolone cheese with the meat and the onions and salt and pepper. That is tasty. Next up, let's give the Philly cheesesteak with the white American cheese a go. It's good. I think I like the provolone better. And last but not least, the Philly cheesesteak with Whiz. That's right, Cheese Whiz. This is tasty. You know it's not good for you, but it's still tasty. This is the version you want after you've had a few pints. Okay, let's give this Z-Man sandwich a go. The smoked brisket with that provolone cheese, onion rings, and Kansas City barbecue sauce, this is tasty. No offense, Philadelphia or St. Louis, but I think we can plus them both up. Okay, for the Z-Man, I want something bright, something to cut through the richness of that sweet barbecue sauce, going dill pickle. And for the cheesesteak, some mild banana peppers. Probably go spicy banana peppers if I had any, but I don't. And I think these will work nicely. Okay, let's give this cheesesteak plussed up with banana peppers. Go. I know I'm not the first person to do this. And long hot peppers would have been good too, but I don't have those. But this definitely brightens it up a bit. Cuts through a little bit of the richness from the meat and the onions and the cheese. This is tasty. Next up, the plussed up Z-Man sandwich with dill pickles. Dill pickles and barbecue sauce, I don't know what it is, but they're just perfect together. Really helps elevate the sandwich. Gives a little bit different element to it, a little bit of brightness. It goes really well with everything in here. Oh. Well, that was fun. I've never actually made onion rings or cheesesteak before, or the Z-Man for that matter. I'll put links to the recipes that I used for both these sandwiches in my link tree if you want to go check them out. The Philadelphia cheesesteak one was from a woman who was born and raised in Philadelphia, so if you have a problem with the recipe, talk to her. The original Philly cheesesteak was just tasty, really quite good. I'm going to give that probably about an 8.5. Adding in the mild banana peppers probably brought it up to about a 9. It was tasty. I know some of you are saying, where's the green bell peppers? My understanding is green bell peppers were not originally in the Philly cheesesteak. Could be wrong. The Z-Man, though, that's a 9, 9.5 right out of the gate, because you've got smoked brisket, you've got a barbecue sauce, you've got onion rings, and provolone cheese. I mean, that's a lot to compete with. And then you add in the sliced pickle, and that's a 10. So in my Super Bowl of sandwiches, Kansas City comes out on top. No offense, Philadelphia, and this does not indicate how the Super Bowl is actually going to go, so don't bet money on it. Who knows? All right, see you tomorrow.